a something that we gotta define which y is it when I'm asking this. And also it takes a lot longer to ask you says when x is equal to 4, what is y? It's gotta be a better notations to do that. So have you guys ever seen a function notation before? No? Okay. So we're going to talk about function notations. So what is a function notations? So instead of saying this is a y, this is a y, we're going to rename these functions. We're going to say, well, we're going to rename this function as this one's f of x is equal to 4x minus 5. And we're going to name the g of x is equal to 3 minus 2x. So we have two different colors to show you they are two separate functions. And not only that, instead of asking you when x is equal to 4, what is y, we're going to give you a better notation of that. We say, hey, that I want to know when x equal to 4, what is f of x? The way I'm going to do that, I'm just saying, well, what is f of 4? See, I'm going to replace that x with 4. The f of 4 is equal to, so f of x, so that is same thing as asking this. So these are the same. So I can technically says f of x is equal to 4x minus 5. F of 4, that means my input is 4. What is my output? So my output is going to be 4 times 4 minus 5 is equal to 11. So that's the same thing when x equal to 4, that's 11. But that's a better way to represent it. That's a better way to ask. Is to ask f of 4. Instead of just say, well, when x equal to 4, what is f of x? This, I can, in really short way, I can answer that. F of 4 is. Okay, like if you don't write it down, you don't understand that, later on you go home, you're going to be like, I don't know what to do. Got it? So what if I were to ask you what is g of 2? Do you know how to do that? What is g of 2? Who says next one? Good. Why? Just plug in 2. But do I know which function do I plug in? I'm going to plug in the g function. I don't want to plug in the f function. I want to plug in the g function. So that's going to be 3 minus 2 times 2. That's equal to 3 minus 4. That's equal to negative 1. You guys seen this before. That's not the first time you've seen this. In Algebra 1, you should seen a function notation before. How many of you guys seen this first time? 1, 2. So you guys seen this before. Valerie, you seen this first time? First time? Okay. So there are 4 different operations. So we're going to talk about what is function operations. There are 4 different operations. One is f plus g of x. It looks very confusing, but it's actually not. So this just means f function plus g function plug in x. So that means f of x plus g of x. So this is called product rule, but you don't need to know the name. You just need to know this. Oh no, this is not product rule, this is sum rule. This one is f minus g of x equal to f of x minus g of x. The next one is f dot g of x. That's equal to f of x times g of x. So do you see how I say of? Every time I say f of x. So every time you have parentheses, I use f of. So f of x, that read as that. F over g of x equal to f of x over g of x cannot equal to 0. That was the quotient rule. We're not going to talk about this today, but we're going to ask you to write it down because on Monday we can go through it. So it's called composite functions. It's called fog, F-O-G, fog of x, fog function. This means f of g of x. This one is g of f of x. F of g of f of x. Write it like this. But we're not going to talk about this today because it's too much to talk about within one day. You've never seen a function operation. You've never seen a function notation. And you've never seen a function operation. So we're not going to talk about this today until Monday. This is going to take one whole day to talk about because a lot of people get confused. We're going to talk about graphing. We're going to talk about all this. Questions? What?
The g of x, what is that? Where, yeah, what does that say?
Cannot equal to 0.
Oh, it's not.
Okay, so instead of writing like this, I can define this function as f of x, this function g of x. I can plug in as what I want to, and I can get a result. So, does this make sense? Okay, so I don't like to use y now. I'm going to use f of x. So you should know f of x is equal to y. G of x is equal to y. It's just two separate y's. Two separate y's. Are we okay here? So now we're going to go into how to do question. Can you erase this part?
No.
I'm going to erase this part. Okay, we're going to say f of x and g of x is defined as follows. F of x is equal to 4 minus 2x, and g of x is equal to 5 minus 7x, like this. And we say, hey, do you know what is f plus g of x? I say, yeah, I know. What is f plus g of x? That looks like over there. Is that the same? F plus g of x? Is that over there? But is that equal to? What is that equal to? Okay. And then that's equal to what? Well, that's equal to f of x, which is, we know the f of x is going to be 4 minus 2x. That's just pure substitution. And plus 5 minus 7x. The only thing I have problem with this writing is this. I have big problem if you write like this. I hate it. I'm going to tell you why I hate it. It should be in parentheses. And although the answers are the same, but a parenthesis is probably the most important thing.
Yeah, like if it's negative.
Exactly. So you will think one step ahead. What if it's minus? Then you have a problem. So this parenthesis is important. Plus sign does not change anything. But the negative sign does change something. So get used to it. Even plus sign, you put a parenthesis over there, you're not going to make a mistake. Now I'm going to distribute a parenthesis. In this case, nothing's going to change, which is nice. So 4 minus 2x plus 5, I just distribute a plus sign in there, but nothing changing. That's nice about plus sign. So that's going to be negative 9x plus 9. Are we okay here? Am I going too fast? No, this is okay, right? Now I can also ask you this. What is f plus g of Give me a number you like, single digit. 4. We're gonna say 4. So I'm gonna show you two ways to evaluate f plus g of 4. One is we already have f plus g of x, right? We just replace that x with a 4, so I can say that answer is equal to what? I just plug in 4 here. So it's equal to negative 9 times 4 plus 9 is equal to negative 36 plus 9. That's equal to negative 27. So my answer is negative 27. But that's not my preferred way. Here's why it's not my preferred way. Because what if I simplify it wrong? And if you plug in the wrong thing, you get a wrong answer. So my preferred way is actually this. So if I preferred way to evaluate is I prefer f plus g of 4. I prefer to say f of 4 plus g of 4. What does f4 mean? Plug in 4 into which function? But plug in which function? This function, right? So what will that be? If I plug in 4, what will that be?
4 minus 8.
4 minus 8 is what? Negative 4, good. G plug in 4 is negative 28. Negative 28 plus 5 is what? Negative 28 plus 5 is negative 23, right? That's equal to negative 27. So I got the same answer regardless what happened. But I like the second way better. It might look like it's more work, but what if I didn't ask you f plus g first? I just asked you what's f plus g of 4. Then you don't want to go through this process, it's actually take longer. So think about what's more time efficient, that's more important. So we're going to use the same g of x, same f of x. We're going to use the same one, but I'm going to ask you to evaluate what, find the expression of this. So first thing I'm going to ask you this. Second thing I'm going to ask you this. Tell me a number you like.
8. 4.
7. I hear 2 7s. Okay. So I want to ask you how to get g minus f of x. Pay attention to the order. Pay attention to the parentheses. Pay attention to distributions. Those are the simple, easy things that you can get on the test. I think my son can get it right, and he's like 5 years old. I'm serious. I'm actually not joking.
It's still the same equation?
Yeah, still using the same equation. I can't use my phone, but my son can teach you how to do 1 minus 2. And he's 5 years old. And he did it very funny too. I have 2 sons. One son is not smart.
Oh.
My older son's kind of like drive me crazy. I had to teach him long division the other day. It was like pulling my teeth. My older son's 8. Oh, no, he's 9. Sorry, after birthday. So it's 9. My younger son's 5. But he can read better than my older son. Younger child usually is smarter.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's me.
No.
No.
Definitely disagree. Younger child usually lazier and smarter. But older child usually work harder. Dumber.
I'm dumber.
You like dumber?
No. But I think that's really smart.
Using the same G functions.
You guys got it?
Yeah.
Who said no? Sorry, you know?
No, no, I think I got it.
All you guys from Venezuela? All you guys from Venezuela?
No. Colombia.
You guys got it? Did you forget about parentheses? Did you forget about distributions? So in this case, G, the order matter now because the G start first, but the operations start as n. So that's equal to G of x minus f of x. And that's equal to G of x is what? 5 minus 7x, right? Minus f of x is going to be 4 minus 2x. Did you do this? Did you do parentheses? Did you distribute? All the people that always end up making mistakes at distribution side.
Creo que esa entonces
So if I distribute correctly, that's going to give me 1 minus 5x. How many of you guys got this? Good. If you didn't, you forgot to distribute negative sign, you forgot the parentheses, you forgot all those things. Yes? Yeah, that's fine. Then I can plug in, I can say g of 7 minus f of 7. Well, g of 7 is going to be minus 49 plus 5, so it's going to be minus 44. F of a 7 is going to be 14. 4 minus 14 is 10.
No, Lagos and Sabon right here. I don't think any of the music.
Do you have a new student that is named Silva?
Not yet,
No,
but she will be my new student, yes.
she's my best friend.
I heard.
Huh?
I heard.
Yeah, you heard. You should throw her phone because she's always on the phone. Yeah, tell her that. Oh my god. Yeah.
What kind of best friend are you?
No, tell her that.
Is she a good girl?
Yeah. She's smart.
She's smart.
Yeah. But lazy. And she knows more English than us. Because She lived here since
Yeah.
she was like 4 years. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Mr. Bye-bye, Mr.
See you.
Mr. My birthday is on Wednesday. Remember?
Wednesday, next Wednesday? You're not gonna be here? You're not gonna be here?
Yeah, yeah. Bye.
Bye. When is Thanksgiving?
I don't know. 29. No,
I don't know what it is. 24?
no. It's 28, 28. It's 20. Yeah, 27th is Wednesday.
I read that face, it's like you barely did homework. Was that right?
Yep.
Did you do it at home?
I looked at it.
You look at it. Mm.
I did it in my brain.
Huh?
I did it in my head.
In your head?
Yeah, I forgot to write it down.
Of course.
Oh, Steve.
Hi Barry. How are you?
I'm kind of tired.
Me too. I see how you feel. I want to take a nap.
Check it right now.
SAT score? So PSAT score out too?
Oh, they're out.
I don't know. Are they out?
How do I see my PSAT score?
I don't know. I don't know when they're out though.
College.
College board? Is it out, Jennifer?
I'm checking right
Wait, but you took it online.
Yeah, only ninth grade take it online.
Oh, so it's all on paper.
It might be out
Huh?
today.
Was it all on paper?
What?
Ninth grade is the only one take it online.
December?
I hate the online one though.
They said it's
I can't take a test online.
Yeah, they're out. They're out?
They're out.
Not PSAT, just ASAT. Seniors. Ours come out in December.
Don't tell me your score, let me guess.
You're tasting it?
Don't tell me your score, let me guess your score. Let's see if I can get a guess.
I know
No, don't tell me, I can guess. No.
Where were you guys today, sir?
work.
Yes.
5, 6.
Yeah.
What's that? 5 on?
Out of 6 for TV.
Oh, you guys see rap or general? Yeah. How much See, you live in a school, go to university. That's not fair.
I would say you have 5, 6, but maybe you have 5.
Where I went to
Still problem. Little fall asleep.
Oh, yeah.
Or 4, 7, how about reading?
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, this way. I don't know. And she relaxed us. The truth is, I was 5.
Oh, for that one, I'm not sure either, but it kind of looks like a line.
It's like I can go out. But I just need
Okay, so yeah, one question I didn't go over was you completing the square.
Yeah, I didn't.
300 points to get a 75% scholarship. That's only assuming if you have volunteer hours. So I don't know if you do.
I got 5.16 and 1 or negative 5.1.
You don't have band anymore. So time to catch up.
How do you know that's accurate?
It's better than working.
Oh.
It's much better than working.
Yeah.
Full time. Because you got 75%, that's roughly probably about $48,000. All right, so get your homework out. Deborah, I didn't record it.
I'm gonna run that.
The Wi-Fi was down yesterday, so you can get it somewhere.
Like, it's not that bad.
The SAT scores are going to go December 10 on the 12th.
왜 이렇게 거기 너무 야 너.
Yeah. I'm doing right now. I cannot sound. Well, you should. Dang it, I can't sound. Yeah, I'm looking at it.
So, but the Y is when X is
I'm sorry, I'm like, whatever. No, number one, which like, 2x plus 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably should be up. But yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
It's like
He's like stupid. Yeah, I was gonna say
Go through all this.
I need to check my notes before you.
No, they were not video because Wi-Fi is down.